Okay, so welcome back to SwitchCorner. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer finally joins the Switch, but is this the genius I remember from the glory days? Or should you skip this and just look elsewhere for, your racing thrills? Well, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and let's get started. So I do want to preface this review today by saying I haven't quite finished up absolutely everything contained in the game. I've done about 17-18 races at this point, but I want to give you a general idea of just how it plays and feels, how it looks, and then take a look at that frame rate. Does it deliver on 60 frames per second and give us the smoothest experience possible? So first off, gameplay, and it's simple enough stuff. Race your pod around tracks set within the Star Wars universe against 11 other pod racers. While it is for sure, basic stuff generally in its controls and gameplay department, it's lost absolutely none of its thrill, and I will say the challenge here ramps pretty quickly. One memory that always stuck with me, and it's still the same today, is the third track that introduces ice. Absolute pain in the ass. I hated that track, and I still do. I used to always slide immediately into the nearest rock and explode, and that still happened today with all these additional years of gaming experience. The tracks though they do each bring not only something unique to the table, but they will require you to use, your full repertoire of skills. Starting out, it's definitely pretty simple, just hold accelerate, and that's honestly about it, as you feel like some genius. But before you know it, you'll be rolling on your side to avoid near death in the thinnest of pathways, repairing your pod on the go, sliding, so basically drifting, and then using your air brakes, the Star Wars variation on a handbrake essentially. The racing here though, it is as memorable as always, taking you to a ton of different locations that drive a slightly different approach from you. Where Star Wars Episode 1 Racer really excels though, it's the roster of racers and the customization options. Expect first off to unlock 25 unique racers, each with their own pod that comes with different, specifications. Like most racers, think like acceleration, top speed, turning, and so on. As someone though who grew up around the game, I'll always personally stick with Anakin for this one. Pretty confident that's probably the main choice here as well, but you can freely switch should you prefer to mix things up as you progress. The customization here then is huge, with basically three options: the junkyard, the store, and vehicle upgrades. They all pretty much lead to the same thing, an improved pod, but they do offer some variety on what you can equip. You can even actually buy droids here that will actually conduct repairs on the go mid-race. Now when it comes to gameplay modes, then you'll get free for single player tournament, free play, and time attack. Tournament, it takes you through the core experience, moving race to race over 8 unique worlds with 3 different challenge levels. Free play, you choose a track and, race. And then finally, time attack, you guessed it, set a best time and beat it. To accompany this then, 2-player is thrown in, but it is local only. One weird thing with Episode 1 Racer that I think they could have done away with for this HD upgrade though, was the fact you have to beat each track at least once before you get access to it in multiplayer or any other mode outside a tournament. And that may be a little annoying for some who just want to, jump into local multiplayer and have immediate access to everything, so they can just dive straight into some of their favourites that they remember. Now, while I do want to also commend them here for the inclusion of HD Rumble, because it does feel great, I think it's a shame we don't see online play. This is a perfect example of a game absolutely made for the online experience. It is a missed opportunity, because I think, would have been perfect. For me growing up, in the UK, now living in the US, nothing would have made me happier than jumping online and racing pods with friends back home who I played it with before back in the day. Even just an online leaderboard for time attack mode would have been a nice and simple touch. Overall, I can't deny the racing, it still feels fantastic, and it's that rare scenario where the game is definitely better than the movie. I loved revisiting it, but I wish they had just put a little extra work into it instead of just HD Rumble. Give me that online multiplayer, that's what I want to see, and I'm sure many of you out there will agree. So graphically speaking, it's very much a HD upgrade, that's for sure. For me, it has its charm, like anyone who played it first time around, back in the day. But if you did have the N64, this will probably be a little jarring for you. I can't compare it to obviously other games on the Switch, more modern releases, similar to my review of Duke Nukem earlier today. This is a game that's very much made for the fans, and it does what I would consider to be the bare minimum with some weird issues along the way. The racing itself looks great, honestly. The track's all fair, with the pods particularly nice with their expertly recreated animations. but there's just like these weird misses here and there, like they just skipped over them. Like look at the text at the top of the screen, crystal clear. So why not do the same thing with the times and numbers above them? Likewise, the main menu, it's got a background that's about as pixelated as they come. Surely this would have been a simple enough image to replace. My favourite though, the cutscenes. This is to me where the age probably shows the most, as they skip along frame by frame with a blur that's kind of like a comfort blanket for me, but I definitely would have preferred the upgrade. Fortunately though, these are all minor quirks. The racing, it looks the best it ever has. They haven't tried to sell this as a remaster, so respect for that. And these locations, it's no doubt the best we're gonna ever see them look outside of if they do like a full-blown remake. Now if you're curious about frame rate though, this one more than delivers in that department with a locked 60 FPS, as you can see on the screen here. This is exactly what I wanted to see, and you can just feel it immediately. Like overall for graphics, outside of a few weirdly overlooked areas, I'm not going to say it looks good, but it does look the best it ever has, which I guess is very much the intention here. So audio then, I'm going to keep this quick. Stellar work with the very occasional dialogue, some nicely accompanied cutscenes, you know, music effects, engines that roar, and then of course the soundtrack that is hard to beat because it was taken directly from the movies. Few things can honestly top a Star Wars soundtrack, so I can't say a bad word against this. There's not a lot else to say honestly, it's exactly how you remember it, and if you've never played this one, music wise you're in for an absolute treat. So overall, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer has the tough job of following another throwback release earlier today, Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. The review of that is live on the channel, but I think it's fair to say it shows what true attention to a game is when it comes to a port like this. Sure, with this one they throw in HD Rumble, but I can't help but be a little disappointed by the lack of online leaderboards or online multiplayer, and then some of those weird graphical issues that they seem to have just like skipped over make little sense to me. With that said though, if you loved this game growing up like me, then yeah, it's the best it's ever played. It's running at that locked 60 frames per second, and damn is this game good. It's lost zero of its charm, and old or new Star Wars fans alike, I suggest you pay this one a visit, even if you despise the movie it's based upon, because for me this is definitely one of the better Star Wars games ever put out to the world. Today I'm awarding Star Wars Episode 1 Racer a great 8 out of 10 with the stipulation I grew up on it and I'm very much, you know, that target audience for the experience. With that though, few games on the Switch can match the intense racing that this one does provide, even if I will say you'll probably see everything on offer here pretty quickly. Thanks for watching, as always, I appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.